Hi, this is Ben Tando. I'm a clinical psychologist and a hardcore Nintendo fan. I'm driving home from work and I wish I could show you this amazing sunset. Let me give you a little quick view of it. It's just so amazing. Isn't that beautiful? It probably doesn't capture what I'm seeing, but just to give you a little taste of it. So, I am driving home from work right now, and I just had another thought I wanted to share. So I was thinking about what I recorded on the previous video about video gaming and how they help with depression. And I was thinking there's another part about cognitive behavioral therapy that I didn't really touch on. So cognitive behavioral therapy, one thing I have to say about psychology and psychologists, my dad's a psychologist like me, and he told me something funny that one of his professors told him in grad school, which is that psychologists use words that nobody understands to explain things that everybody understands, okay? So we use a lot of big words, but they all have very simple meanings actually, and they can be applied in very simple ways. So cognitive behavioral therapy sounds so, right, it's like such a big phrase, right? Or CBT is what it's commonly referred to as. It sounds like such a big thing, cognitive behavioral therapy. What the hell is that? So all it really means is therapy of your thoughts and your behavior. That's all it means. Cognition is just a fancy word for thoughts, for your thoughts, for everything that goes on in your mind and the words that you think, because we tend to think in words, although we also think in other ways. But in cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, we work with people's thoughts and their behaviors. So in the previous video I was talking about how in depression, in treating depression with CBT, we often focus on behavioral activation, and that's often a primary focus of CBT for depression, is helping people to activate themselves, to start actually doing things, start going to the gym, get out of bed and play a video game, get up and make yourself a cup of coffee. Just do something rather than sitting and ruminating. So that's very effective, very helpful. The behavioral part is helpful. At the same time, there's also the cognitive aspect of it, okay? The thoughts. Oh, and one interesting little tidbit is that cognitive it's kind of a funny way that we came to use that word. And really it's kind of based on the idea, I was looking this up once, it really comes from the idea of the brain as a computer and thinking of it like a cog, like a cog in a machine. So anyway, that's not what the brain is, but it's sort of a computerized language that we've adopted. Anyway, that's not important. The important thing is that in CBT, we work with behavior, but we also work with thoughts. And depending on a person's issue, you might work entirely with one or the other. And oftentimes I find we actually work even more with thoughts, because it's not just our behavior that needs to be addressed, but also the way we think, and the way that just the automatic thoughts that come to our mind all the time. So when someone is depressed, often their behaviors are contributing to the depression because they're not doing things that make them feel good. But another really important point is that depressed people almost always have very negative ways of thinking about themselves, about other people, and about the world. So this, I think, has a real relevance to video gaming actually, because one thing that I have found is that when I'm playing a game that has a lot of dialogue, a lot of script, a lot of words where you click on this, when you achieve a certain thing and then you have a conversation with someone, I find that it actually has a kind of healing effect on me in kind of a weird way. Because when you play a game, and I like to use the Zelda games as my main example, because I love the Zelda games. They're my absolute favorite. Zelda and Mario are my favorite series. But I love Twilight Princess and I love Skyward Sword in particular. Those are probably my two favorites in the Zelda series. And when you play those games, you really get totally absorbed into this imaginative world. It's just a total fantasy world, and You know, they have amazing imagery and music and sounds, and it's really, really powerful. And one thing that I have found when I have been playing these games is that it's actually kind of healing, or the word we would use in therapy is reparative. It's a reparative experience to, believe it or not, to actually be praised by the other characters in the game. So yes, it's imaginary. Yes, I know that I'm not actually Link in real life. I'm not actually running around the world with a sword and slaying monsters and all this kind of stuff. But sometimes, you know, we don't get enough praise, or we might be so isolated because of the depression, and it might result in us having a lot of negative thoughts. So when you play the game, like, you jump right there into the hero's journey. Everything that Joseph Campbell wrote about in his work. Everything that Joseph Campbell wrote about in his classic work, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, and talks about also in his talks with Bill Moyers about the power of myth, which I highly recommend. Actually, I'll put the link into that again, into this description of this video for the power of myth. Highly recommend listening to that. Especially if you're depressed, it's very uplifting and inspiring. Or if you have any struggles with religion and organized religion and finding your spiritual path, as I did for many years, the power of myth will, I swear to God, it will change the way you see everything. So when you play a video game, you get to really descend into that lived experience of the power of myth, and you get to play the role of the hero, the adventurer. And so as you're doing so, you get to have experiences of mastery and confidence, and you develop new skills, and you know, you overcome an obstacle in the game which might be hard at first, and then you set it aside and you come back and then you beat it, and it makes you feel good. But another thing that I found is that when I was playing the games, you know, these imaginary characters would be telling me how wonderful I am and how I'm the hero, and they've all been waiting for me to come and save the day. So, you know, there have been times in my life when people have spoken to me in that way. But in the game, you get to experience it in an admittedly manufactured kind of way. But I find that it actually gives me a confidence boost. It makes me feel good about myself. You know, it's like, it's the same reason that people can go to a movie and they know that what they're seeing on the screen is not actually happening, but they'll be bawling their eyes out because it evokes something within them, within their psyche. And in the same sense, when someone praises you in a video game, it gives you praise. It makes you feel good about yourself. It gives you confidence, and you actually have to earn it in the game. You know, they don't just give you the praise. You have to actually earn it. So you do feel like you earned something. So I have felt and experienced myself that the praise I get in video games is a kind of cognitive intervention that definitely makes my depression a little less severe. I was joking in the other video about how people often use the term "my" when they talk about their mental illness. I do the same thing. You know, we make it so precious. It's my depression. So it's good to be aware of that, because we all do it. I do it myself. But we don't want to make it who we are. We don't want to make it our identity. But getting back to the main point, just that I really feel that those dialogues in the games help me to feel better. They boost my mood. They give me a little bit of confidence. Because when you're depressed, a lot of people that are depressed tend to get very, very down on themselves, very negative, very guilt-ridden, very filled with shame and despair and guilt, and my life is, I have no value, and those kind of things. And in a game, it's like they put a sword in your hand, and you get out there and you fight and you live. And you conquer, and you achieve something, you overcome obstacles. So that's why I think that video games are very effective, not just for the behavioral part of CBT, but also the cognitive part of CBT. So that's my thought for tonight. I hope you're all having a wonderful night. Make sure you don't wait too long until you play your next video game, because I swear it'll make you feel good. It might take a little bit of playing before you get to that point, but it works. It works for me. And, you know, maybe video games aren't your thing, but you gotta find something that... I think everyone needs to have some kind of mindless pleasure. Like, yeah, going to the gym feels good. You know, we should all go to the gym more, etc., etc., but I think we all need just easy, mindless pleasures, especially things that are playful and just kind of, well, I say mindless, it requires your mental focus, but it's like not serious, you know, it's fun, it's play. No real consequences in the real world, besides helping you to feel better, which is good. Okay, so that's enough for me for tonight. This is seriously an amazing sunset. I wish you could see it. Maybe I'll give you a little swoop of it before. It's probably not gonna come off as beautiful as it is for me, but that's what I'm looking at. I feel like these kind of things never come across very well in video. But anyway, yeah, have a great night. Love you very much. Remember, you have value, you are loved, and we need you on this earth. So stick around, because you don't want to miss the next Zelda game. You know there's always going to be another one. Okay? Take care. Love you. Have a great night. Bye-bye.